Hi everybody. I'm so happy to be here, and just having heard all of the speakers that came before me, really honored to be in the presence of such incredible people who are doing so many things to make the world a better place. So, all right, my clicker's working. Thank you for the introduction. I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about Innovation Africa, which is the organization I work for, and we're a nonprofit who brings Israeli innovations. We're working with solar technologies, remote monitoring technologies, drip irrigation. We're currently exploring a whole bunch of new technologies, but we're bringing these technologies to rural villages in Africa where people are living with no access to electricity at all. All right, so I wanted to share with you guys a couple of the slides, a couple of the things that actually really inspired us to get our work started. So this image is really shocking, and it's something that the founder of our organization saw. But this is a photo of Africa at night. And nearly 600 million people are living without any access to electricity at all. So as you can see, that means there is absolutely no light after the sun goes down. And I'll speak a little bit more about what that means, particularly in the realms of education, healthcare, access to clean water, and the solutions that we can bring to help. Our other inspiration is a woman named Goldman, who I hope many of you are familiar with. But we may bring these technologies to rural African villages, but Israel and Africa share much more history than people really think. So this is really the spirit that embodies our work and the reason why we do it all. So I wanted to open with this. Like them, we had shaken off foreign rule. Like them, we had to learn for ourselves how to reclaim the land, how to increase the yields of our crops, how to irrigate, how to raise poultry, how to live together, and how to defend ourselves. So this is what the reality that 64% of people throughout sub-Saharan Africa are facing every single day. This is actually a photo that I took while spending time in the field. And as you can see, without access to electricity, it's something that we all take for granted. Just looking around this room, I've got the clicker, I've got my microphone, I've got the projector over here, light bulbs all over the place, exit signs. But there's not one light bulb in this village. There is not one water tap to turn on clean water. So without a source of energy, women are actually walking hours every single day, 60% of their day, collecting water. Now, I have done this walk, and it is in 90-degree blazing sun, often with one or two children strapped to a woman's back, walking on foot, often with no shoes, just to reach the nearest water source. And when they arrive at the water source, this is the water that they're drinking. It's not clean. It leads to many diarrheal diseases and claims many, many lives. In fact, 1 in 5 children die before they reach the age of 5, mostly due to water-related diseases. And this is a burden that really often falls on women and girls more than anyone else. So lack of access to clean water is also a real barrier to education and women's empowerment. So children, rather than spending their day in school, are actually spending their day collecting water. This is the reality of medical care. Women are being treated by the light of candles and kerosene lamps, which are toxic and make them sick. I've heard crazy stories from midwives treating women actually by the light of their cell phones because that's the only source of light that they have. But imagine if this is what it looked like for you to seek emergency medical care. Another really huge factor is that without energy to power refrigerators, nearly 50% of all of the vaccines and medicines that are delivered to the developing world end up spoiling. So as a result, people are continuing to suffer from preventable diseases like malaria, tuberculosis, polio. This is what it looks like to try and study after the sun goes down, and approximately 50% of all children in the developing world go to schools like this. So that means that after a long day walking to school, often on foot for hours, once students arrive at their classrooms, they have nowhere to do their homework because they cannot see after the sun goes down. So often, schools will spend about 50% of their monthly budget just on candles or kerosene lamps. But as I mentioned, kerosene lamps are toxic. It harms children. It actually, studying by the light of kerosene lamp is equivalent to smoking 200 packs of cigarettes every single year. So it's a pretty terrible thing. And also, Students are crowding around one little lamp like that, often over 100 students in just one classroom just to try and do their homework after the sun goes down. It also means that teachers don't have a place to prepare their lessons for the day ahead. So imagine if we could turn this into this, a classroom that's filled with light and students are comfortably able to gather and study after the sun goes down. What if we could turn this is actually a waiting room where women are coming, waiting to give birth and waiting to see a midwife at night, into this. This is Rose, and she's an incredible midwife who works at Buganda Health Center in Uganda. She's very proud after our first solar installation that she was able to treat women for the first time after the sun goes down. And what if we could turn this dirty water source into this clean water flowing from a tap right at home in the village? So we at Innovation Africa understand that without energy, there is no chance for a better education, there's no way to pump clean water from deep below ground, and there's no opportunity for medical care. So essentially, without access to electricity, there's no chance at a brighter future. So we've seen our work improve the lives of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people throughout sub-Saharan Africa. Actually, the most up-to-date number is 700,000 people who are being served by our schools, medical clinics, receiving vaccinations, and drinking clean water for the very first time. So I've used the term Israeli innovation and Israeli innovations. What exactly does that mean, and how do these technologies transform lives? So this is just a list of some of the incredible technology partners that we work with on the ground. This might just look like a box, but it's actually a pretty incredible technology, a remote monitoring system that actually attaches to a solar panel and reads the energy production and consumption of each of our projects and sends that information via satellite that I then receive by text message, and I can know how each of our 85 projects are doing at all times and if there is an issue from right here. And so it really adds a whole new level of accountability and sustainability to our projects. And it was actually this technology that awarded us the UN Innovation Award in November of 2013 for the best innovative development solution. And we were awarded this at the UN Global South-South Conference in Nairobi, which we attended as part of the Israeli delegation. So it was a really exciting time for us to showcase how the technologies coming out of Israel are making the world a better place. This is another technology, water monitoring systems, which keeps track of the water flow in our water pumping systems. And this is just a sample monitoring report for you guys to see. There are peaks when the system is working well, and we're able to track all of that remotely. We're also using Israeli computers that basically provide students with computer training for the first time, access to the wealth of information that's on the internet for the first time. And it's pretty insane if you think about the first photo that I showed you. One child struggling to read by the light of kerosene lamps all of a sudden has light in their classroom and also a computer for the first time. Also, we're bringing drip irrigation technologies that enable rural farmers to grow more crops with less water, even in times of drought. And this is a technology that turned Israel from the barren desert that it was into the blossoming and green country that it is today. Now, we work with all local staff, local project managers who speak all of the local dialects and are able to work closely with communities as well as local contractors. But before we do that, we actually train them by Israeli engineers who travel with us to the field. And we just had a big visit with our newest Israeli engineer. His name is Meir, and he's in the process of designing a whole bunch of new technologies based on the needs that he saw on the ground. One of the exciting things we're looking into is a solar-powered mosquito zapper to help prevent malaria. So there are a lot of interesting things that can be done. So what have we done? You know what our mission is now. We've completed 85 projects in 6 countries. We're working in Ethiopia, Uganda, Tanzania, Malawi, South Africa, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. I don't know if we have any basketball fans in the house, but we actually expanded to the DRC in collaboration with Dikembe Mutombo, who is an NBA All-Star, very famous for this finger wag when he used to block people. If you haven't seen it, look it up on YouTube, it's pretty funny. But he found out about our work and we actually traveled with him. He grew up in a village with no electricity and we provided power to his hometown. Really, really exciting thing to do and really incredible to see someone who has risen from that and help us empower so many other people with these technologies. So our solar-powered water pumping systems are providing 20,000 liters of clean water every single day per village. We've seen an increase of 400% of the women coming and seeking maternal health care services after the sun goes down, after they have solar energy. We've now issued over 300,000 life-saving vaccines to children. And we've seen graduation rates as much as triple within just 1 year of installing solar energy at a school. So something that Innovation Africa has that's unique as an NGO is something called Special Consultative Status to the United Nations Economic and Social Council. That's a pretty big mouthful, a lot of mumbo jumbo, but it essentially means that we have access to all UN meetings at the highest level. And during General Assembly meetings in particular, there's a section for civil society as well as NGOs where they can participate and weigh in on a given challenge. So let's say they're setting the development agenda, we can weigh in and say, you know, lack of access to electricity is leading to X, Y, and Z in the village. These are the things that we've seen on the ground, and here are our suggestions as to what you can do. So we are really playing a direct role in shaping the policy that will affect these people who are living in rural areas who are often ignored by governments and left to fend for themselves. This was just a quote I wanted to share. This is Ron Prozor, who's Israel's UN ambassador, and he attended our gala last year. But this is the face of Israel that I am proud to represent in the halls of the United Nations. I think that there are a lot of perceptions out there about what Israel is and what it has to offer to the world. So it's an exciting thing to be able to share something so overwhelmingly positive. The communities we're working with on the ground are Christian, Muslim. We also actually work with the Jewish community in Uganda, but our work is all about a global community, about building bridges with people across the world and using the positive parts of Israel to change lives and impact lives in a positive way. And we are now part of this global movement of sustainable energy for all. The UN Secretary General has now vowed to bring energy access to everyone by 2030. So we're hoping to really lead the way and make sure that not one person living in sub-Saharan Africa has to study by the light of kerosene, has to walk for hours to drink contaminated water. So we have a lot of educational programs. This is me with a bunch of kids teaching them about solar energy and drip irrigation programs. We have campus programs on over 50 campuses across the country. And we also have custom fundraising pages. Essentially, we believe that every single person should be empowered to make a difference. And so we designed a new section on our website where anyone can create a page, upload their own photo, upload their own story. And the way that it works is that 100% of all the money that our campaigners raise go directly to a project on the ground. So let's say a group of students raise $50. We will tell them those funds were used to purchase 10 light bulbs in a school. This is the school, these are the students, and this is how their lives have been changed. So again, really fostering that global community, creating connections with people across the world. So yes, that's it. That's what we do, and thank you so much for coming and listening.